Hello, I'm Nikki Farler from the Perry County School System. I'm very privileged to be a 2021-2022 KVAC Innovation Grant winner. My project this year is Blue Jay Coders, Building Relationships Through Coding. It is my 13th year teaching in the Perry County School System. I primarily teach kindergarten through second grade, but I also teach the moderate to severe disability students in the resource setting. Robinson Elementary is located in Erie, Kentucky, and has approximately 300 students preschool to 8th grade. Since the pandemic, we've been working like most schools in a couple of different settings to deliver instruction to our moderate to severe students. Initially, like most schools, we were all virtual. So starting in March 2020, all of these students went virtual. And now in October, November 2021, many of these students are still on virtual and some of them are beginning to transition back. Now this leads us to the situation that's occurring in most schools across America and in Eastern Kentucky. How do we encourage these social skills that have been lost during the pandemic to begin to build those back while encouraging students to branch out from their small social groups and help them to feel supported and secure to be able to have these interactions and build these relationships? But my grant rationale is focused on that. Prior to the pandemic, building social skills goals and working towards adaptive and social skills goals for our students with moderate to severe disabilities was classroom based. It was classroom based, and then it would branch out beyond the resource setting, and you would begin to do it in a school setting, and then you would begin to look at it at home and community settings as you began to branch out and begin to master these skills. Since these students have been home and all of this instruction is at home, and we're concerned about going out and we're concerned about being able to move these skills across settings, some of these skills, or most of these skills in some cases, according to parents, have begun to wane, and these students have experienced some loss of skills that they had previously mastered. So in the Perry County School System, we've had a big focus this year on social emotional health and looking at as a staff, social emotional health, as well as really focusing on our students' social emotional health. So due to the pandemic, our severe students have really struggled with not only their social skills goals and the ability to be able to do that, but also helping them realize that it's safe to come back to school. And when their parents feel that it's safe for us to come back, and it's safe for us to be around people. So this leads us to our research question. How can we increase social interactions with our moderate to severe students while increasing the STEM education among our lower primaries? As a small school, we don't have access to a STEM lab or a STEM teacher, and STEM instruction happens, there's more of a focus on that for our older students. So since the pandemic and the focus on technology became even more in the forefront, we began to realize that it's very important that we begin to introduce coding and these STEM concepts at a younger age. And lower primary is great because most of our moderate to severe students love to interact with their kindergarten and first graders. And prior to the pandemic and during the pandemic, they've been on Google Meet with some of them, reading stories and interacting with them to help encourage these social relationships. So my plan of action. Another great thing that KVAC has been encouraging is Lego robots. Our team, with the help of KVAC and Perry Promise, has been created at Robinson with our 3rd through 8th graders. I think primarily focusing on our 3, 4, 5 students. So using those students who have STEM knowledge gained from the Lego Robot Club, we're pairing our moderate to severe students with one of those Lego mentors, and they're helping them learn the equipment that we have ordered and purchased from the grant. Once these students have been paired and feel comfortable with the equipment, then they will be paired with small groups from our kindergarten classes and introduce this equipment to the kindergarten classes. As the year goes on, the goal being that the moderate to severe students begin to take more of a role within the group and the Lego mentor can begin to step back. The year will culminate in Lego robot races with our Lego team and our kindergarten classes and our moderate to severe. Within our grant, with our grant budget of $1,000, I've purchased several different STEM activities for our students, starting from easier, less intense activities, kind of weighing up into more coding situations. So we're starting with RD3000 educational robot. We bought 2 of those. These are the robots. We've seen that. I saw a similar one, but they were out of stock. At a previous KVEC innovation conference in which the robot is controlled by the pen. So in the first group meetings, we will work with our robots, just encouraging the students to write their names and write their letters and things that they are working on within class. And so they can show those master skills to the groups and be able to interact with the robot in more of a low-key situation. And then we also purchased a Dash Wonder voice activated robot. Our speech therapist is actually really excited about this because the robot can help those students with some speech and communication skills. These also will need the iPad. We purchased 1 iPad. From previous KVEC grants, I had 2 more iPads, so that's going to help us be able to do multiple groups at one time. I also was able to purchase the Osmos Genius Starter Kit and the Osmos Coding Starter Kit. These are leveled up situations that we will see later on in the grant, but it introduces academic skills, and then we also have some coding skills as well. I also got the Osmos Genius Starter Kit as well as the Little Genius Starter Kit. So we will be able to work with the kindergarten students on specific skills that they need and to be able to reinforce the skills that they are learning within the classroom. Here's a look at our project timeline. Also, one thing I left off on the KVEC budget, on the group budget for the project, was our coding critters. We were able to buy 3 coding critters, which are robot critters that have stories along with them, and the students program the critter to go along with the story. So it will encourage our moderate to severe students to help read the story and read the story to the group. And then it will also encourage fine motor and coding along the story with our kindergarten students. So we're really excited about those coding critters. Now, as far as project timeline, in October, we have all of our equipment ordered, and some of it is starting to come in. And then our moderate to severe students were able, just this last week, to be able to begin to interact with our kindergartners. They helped with the Halloween candy school trick or treat, since we weren't allowed to have students. Students bring in their parents. Our moderate to severe students handed out candy for our lower primary students. And then in November, you will see we'll begin to pair off with our Lego students, and the RD and Wonder robots. They'll begin to interact with those, and the Lego students will work with our moderate to severe students in November to make sure that they understand how to work the equipment. And then hopefully by Thanksgiving, which is the real goal, but I put it in December, the real goal of being that we begin to have these groups right before Thanksgiving, which is also a real goal because some of our moderate to severe students will start to work on their have their alternate assessment windows. And that will be a real goal for them. Once they get finished with that, we can do the groups. In December, our moderate to severe mentor students will begin to do will continue those small groups. And then in January and February, we want to add the voice activated as well as the starter kit for the Osmos Genius. And then in March, April, the goal of being that the moderate to severe students will begin to take more of a leadership role in the groups, and the Lego mentor students will be able to step back. What we're really excited about is in May, having our coding races with our Lego robots to celebrate the end of the year and the end of our kindergarten coding groups for the year. Our students are very excited about this, and our kindergartners are very pumped to try out some new things. So we're excited too. And all of this is because the great relationship that we have with KVAC. Again, we really want to thank KVAC for giving me and my students and I this opportunity to be able to dive into coding while also building these relationships that have been lacking during the pandemic. If you have any questions about my project or the products that we're using, the equipment that we're using, or how we're making this work in our school, by all means, email me. My email is down here at the bottom. Thank you again, KVAC, for this great opportunity for my students and my school.